Arts class. Tonight's video is going to look at one piece of time in the daily schedule. If you remember the videos we looked at the flipped classroom, which kind of gave you the framework for the year, and then we looked at the daily schedule, which showed you how I took the 90 minutes we were going to get together every day and I broke it into pieces for very specific kinds of work. Work time is probably the most important time in the classroom, and it's also the longest time every day. It's also probably going to be the time where you're going to have to do the biggest shift in your thinking about how you handle a language arts class. So tonight's video is going to try and give you a little bit of insight in what work looks like during work time. The purpose of work time in my class is for you to pursue writing projects. In other words, the purpose of work time is for you to do the work of real-world writers. Not students, but writers. Okay, here are my objectives. When you're finished watching this video, I hope you have a better understanding of exactly what the work of real-world writers is. The second objective I have for you is that you should understand the different kinds of work that real-world writers do. So you have lots of options in my classroom during workshop time. It isn't just to sit and write an essay. And finally, the video should help you or could clarify for you the role that your writer's notebook plays in my class and help you understand A, why it's critical you have it in class every day, and B, why it's something that you should take very seriously. All right, be sure you're an active viewer of the video. Pause when you need to, rewind when you need to, review the entire video. You probably will need to do that to get the big picture and then go back and take notes. Make sure that you take good notes in your ISN, write an accurate summary on the opposite left-hand page, and one good question that we can discuss when I see you in class. Writing process and reading process are the two backbones of my class this year. Writing process is the work that real writers do. I want you to forget about writing process as you understand it with the posters on the bulletin board and the 4 stages. I want you to think about it a little bit more sophisticatedly, more metaphorically. Writing process is really a journey that people who write take. It's a journey of discovery. It's a journey that begins when a writer comes across an idea that won't leave them alone. And it ends when the writer has taken that idea, developed it, grown it, organized it, reorganized it, and has gotten it to a form where they're ready to let the idea go out into the world for other people to see, to read, to understand, to go to an audience in some kind of finished written form. This is very different from I assign it on Monday, we pre-write on Tuesday, we draft on Wednesday, we revise on Thursday, we edit on Friday and turn it in. That's not the writing process I'm talking about here. Okay? I'm talking about taking the time to find an idea that intrigues you, that you want to spend some time with, shape, and you want to share it with the world because it's important to you. So work time in my classroom is the time I've set aside for you to be what a writer is, for you to do what a writer does. And my goal for each of you, my expectation for each of you, is that as we work through the year, work time is when you are purposeful, independent writers that have an agenda of things that need to get accomplished so you can get your project done and out in the world. Think about how different that is from what you understand now. So if work time asks you to do purposeful things that writers do, we need to talk about what those things are. The main thing is learning to live in your world like a writer and learning to think like a writer. Your writer's notebook is where your work as a writer is going to begin in my class. Within your writer's notebook, you are going to be expected to live in your world as someone who writes. And because you are someone who writes, you are going to be expected to begin collecting things from your world into that notebook towards a bigger project that you're going to put out into the world later on. Okay? Which should lead you to the question. So, you say, I'm going to live in the world as a writer. What does that mean? One of the things that it means is that you learn to keep a writer's notebook. If you look at any of the interviews with published writers, if you go to any of the writers that you enjoy their websites, you'll see that about 99% of published writers have some kind of a collection system, a notebook, a shoebox, a blog on their on their laptop. Shel Silverstein was an author who kept a shoebox. He would collect his ideas on bits and pieces of paper and index cards, and he would make sketches at the bottom of notebook pages and tear them off, and all this went into his notebook when he was looking for an idea. Mary Oliver talks about how she keeps a notebook that's small enough to fit. Mary Oliver's my favorite poet. She keeps a notebook that's small enough to fit in the back pocket of her jeans, and it goes everywhere with her. Some writers keep 5 or 6 notebooks, one on their bedside table, one in the car, one in their purse, one in the backyard, so that no matter where they go, there's a notebook and they pull it all together. But just the act of keeping a notebook is going to help develop that wide awake habit in you that writers have. I've set aside 15 minutes in every class period to do notebook work, to help you develop the strategies and the ways of thinking that are going to help you independently begin to collect the bits and pieces of your life that make you who you are. I posted this quote at the bottom of the page by Donald Murray. It's an aha moment for me. I came across this about 10 years ago, I guess. Donald Murray is an author, and he's also a newspaperman, and he is a teacher at the University of New Hampshire. But he said, writers don't live more exciting lives or more glamorous lives than anyone else. They just pay attention, and they react. The aha moment here for me was that it didn't occur to me that the person who read the book I just finished lived the same life I did. They got up every day at the same time like I did. They ate their breakfast like I did. I just assumed that someone somewhere was living an exciting life and writing about it. That's not true. The only difference between published writers and you and I is that published writers have learned to pay attention. They have learned to collect the little bits and pieces that filter through their lives, and they have learned to react to those bits and pieces. And that's my goal. That's our beginning job as writers, is to learn how to do that, how to live in the world, how to pay attention, how to collect, and how to react. And that's where our work as writers in our classroom begins. So the first work you'll do, the first writerly work you do, is working towards an idea. Your writer's notebook is the tool we're going to use to do that. During the notebook time, that 15 minutes after silent writing, you're going to get a chance to experiment with different ways of thinking about putting entries into your notebook. During work time, you'll be able to apply strategies that I'm going to teach you to generate entries. You're going to begin to pay attention to all of those everyday things around you. You're not going to be able to help it because you know that you're going to have to write every day. It's kind of like your family buys a new car, and until you own that car, you've never noticed that car in traffic before, but the minute you buy the car, they're all over. Writing is exactly the same way. Because you know you're going to write every day, you're going to begin to pay attention. I guarantee it. And we're going to practice ways to help you pay attention, to gather them, react to them, and save them in your notebook. So, during work time, the first few weeks anyway, you will be this wide awake life, this paying attention, this reacting. This is how it's going to look. One thing you can do is to read other writers' work and look at the kinds of things they write about. Put those in your notebook. Look for descriptions that they do. If they hit you, put them in your notebook. Look for unusual words, put them in your notebook. Look for unusual names, put them in your notebook. You're going to reread some of the entries that you've read and ask yourself, what more could I write? And you're going to generate more. You're going to take the strategies we're learning and you're going to do them on your own. You're going to take the rereading strategies we're going to be working on during notebook time, and you're going to apply those and work on them on your own. So your purpose as a writer during the beginning of these steps in the process is to generate as much to choose from as possible. A metaphor for you. If the writer's process is a journey, think about your writer's notebook as packing. Wouldn't you much rather have 50 outfits to choose from when you're on vacation than 5 or 2 or 1? Well, your notebook is no exception. Your journey down the writing process is going to come from an idea in your notebook. You want as much in your notebook as possible to pick from. So we're going to spend some time learning to use our writer's notebooks as tools for collecting our world. We're going to spend some time learning ways of thinking about the entries we've already collected. And we're going to spend some time learning ways of possibilities for rereading what we've collected. And we're going to begin to fill our notebook with the bits and pieces of our lives. And this is the first piece of writer's work that's going to happen for you during work time. One last thing before I let you go, another metaphor for your notebook. I read somewhere that people compare their notebook to a garden. If you've ever planted a garden, you tear open the envelope of seeds and you dump them out, and there's maybe 100 tomato seeds in the packet. Well, you don't want 100 tomato plants. You only want maybe 5 or 6. So why aren't there only 5 or 6 seeds in the packet? Because the people who get the seeds ready don't know which seeds will sprout and which seeds don't. So they give you lots to choose from, and you plant way more than you actually want. Because you know not everything's going to grow at all, and you know that you only want the best. So you plant, maybe you want 5 tomato plants, you plant 50 seeds. Of the 50 seeds, maybe 10 grow, and you pull everything out except the 6 strongest. Your writer's notebook is exactly like that. You don't know what ideas are going to be great and what ideas might not move you later on down the line. So you take everything that comes to you. You plant everything and trust that the good ones will grow, and the ones that really are not going to amount to anything are there in your notebook for safekeeping. Finally, as we begin our work as writers this year, this is going to be the one point in the year where everybody's at the same spot. Everybody is going to be finding ideas that matter to us, the ideas that speak to us, the ideas that won't leave us alone until we pay attention to them. But I want everybody to understand that that doesn't mean I expect everyone's writer's notebooks to look the same. I want you to understand I don't expect everyone to collect the same kind of entries. I want you to understand that I don't expect you to collect entries in the same way. Each of us is very different. And as a good friend of mine who teaches English says, this is where the deep water comes. For me, it's where the fun begins. Part of what doing English this way allows is it allows us to build this rich, very diverse community of readers and writers. And because we are different people with different lives and different backgrounds and different interests, each of our notebooks is going to look different. And each of our differences is going to bring a richness to everybody else's writing that wouldn't if we were all doing the same thing in the same way, at the same time, at the same pace. So, I'm very excited about this. This is really the actual beginning. I hope the notebook has given you just an exciting sample. I hope you're enthusiastic when I see you, and I'll see you in class.